Hello there, and welcome to BA260, Computerized Accounting 2 at GRCC. My name is Brian Daly, and I'm really excited to be your instructor for this class. In this video, I'm going to give you a brief tour of our Canvas site for the class and talk about how the class is going to operate. So I've logged into the course on Canvas here, and most of the content in the class you're going to get to from the home page of the course. And if you scroll down the home page, you're going to see these tile buttons at the bottom, and this is how you're going to access your assignments as well as access course resources and etc. And most of the content is going to be under assignments. So I'm going to click on that link. So what I've done here is I've created folders for each of the different weeks throughout the term, and I've made all the material in the entire course available to you from the onset. So you can just click on the little arrow next to each week and it'll expand out the content and show you what we're doing this week. So this class is an accelerated class. It's a 2-credit course, but it is accelerated. And what that means for you is that you're going to put a considerable amount of time into it each week. You can expect to spend anywhere from 12 to 16 hours per week on the course. That's the average from prior students' experience. For the first week, I actually have quite a bit of work for you. You're going to be working through the first 3 chapters of the textbook. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But first, I just want you to spend some time taking a look at Canvas, make sure that you understand where things are at, do a little exploration, read through the syllabus, and then also make sure that you get your computer and your software set up. So we're going to be using the Sage 50 2022 software throughout the course. You're going to want to install that immediately so you can get started with chapter 1. And in the assignments page, as well as in other places, in the course resources page as well, I've provided you with a download link to install the software as well as the serial number that you'll need when you do that. But before you get started with that, you need to make sure that you have a computer that's able to install Sage. Sage 50 requires Windows. If you don't have a computer that's running Windows, we've got a couple of different options for you. You can borrow a laptop from our library for free for the entire semester. However, those laptops are available on a first come, first served basis. They do run out. So you're going to want to call the library and see if they have any of those available to you. And if they do, come in and grab one right away before they run out. Alternatively, we also have this other option called the Omnissa Horizon Virtual Desktop. And basically what that is it's a tool that you can use on your Mac or your Chromebook that allows you to use your web browser to connect to a computer on GRCC's network that already has Windows on it as well as Sage 50 on it, and then you can use the software there. So that's an option for you if you aren't able to borrow a loaner laptop or if you don't have a Windows computer already. That is an option. Now there are a couple little caveats about that option. One is that sometimes there's a little bit of lag when you're using that, and then secondly, you have to be very careful where you save all of your files using that option. I've provided a detailed video on the course resources area about this Omnissa Horizon Virtual Desktop option. So make sure to check out that video if that's something that you're interested in. But week 1, right away, I want to make sure that you're able to access the software. So please either install it on your machine or borrow the laptop or get into this Omnissa Horizon desktop app and just make sure that you're comfortable and you're ready to get started with the software portions of it. That's going to be our top priority for the week. All right, so then in each week I've provided you with a detailed video that's going to walk through the body of the chapter in your book. So here's sort of how the class is going to work. You're going to have your book out. You're going to watch this video. You might want to do it on a separate screen. Maybe put it on your phone. You can throw it on your TV. I made these videos public so you can put it on a TV if you want. And you're going to get out your computer and you're going to be working through the Sage software and doing the things that I'm doing in the video, because you're going to submit reports that are going to reflect those things that I'm doing in the video. In each chapter, in the body of the chapter, I'm going to go through every activity that's in that body of that chapter. And then you get to the end of the chapter, and what we have there are these end of chapter exercises without as much instruction. And that's going to be sort of how I make sure that you're understanding what I'm doing in the body of the chapter is on those end of chapter exercises. You're going to be doing that work on your own. It's going to be reflective of what we did in the body of the chapter, but there's just not going to be guided help for it. It's sort of an independent application idea. Then what you'll do at the end of each chapter is you'll click on these links that say submit your chapter 1 PDF reports. I'm going to click on this first one here. And we get to this page. What I'll have here is a list of all the different reports that I want for that chapter, as well as the page reference from the book. And if there's any notes about a difference between the textbook and the software we're using, I'll make a mention of that there as well. For the first few chapters, there's not much of a difference other than the year that's mentioned in the book. For the first 8 chapters is 2019, and when you open up your sample company files in the software, you're going to see dates in 2022, and that's going to be fine. But you get to later chapters, especially chapter 15, there's going to be some pretty significant differences. So on these assignment pages, I'll give you screenshots and I'll call out the differences. I'll also try to do that in the assignments page on Canvas, as well as announcements as well. But yeah, just be aware of how the process is going to work. You're going to get your book out, you're going to get that video out, and then on your computer you're going to be working through the software, doing the things that I'm doing in the video in your company file. You get to the end of the chapter, then you're going to do some work in the software on your own. The instructions for what you're doing on your own are coming from the book. They're at the end of each chapter in the exercises. So now that I've talked a little bit about how the assignments are structured, I'm going to go to the syllabus and briefly talk about that. So on the syllabus here, I've provided my contact information. In addition to serving as your professor, I also have a full-time job at the college coordinating tutoring services for all business and economics classes here. And what that means to you is that I'm here on campus for many hours a week. I'm also available for Zoom meetings for many hours a week. And if you'd like to meet with me, it's best to send me an email, and then we can work out a time and date to do that. You can also self-register for appointments with me and my staff by clicking on this link that I have here to navigate. This is a software app that we use for scheduling appointments on campus. Our academic advisors are also using it, but also tutors are using it. So you can self-register here, but my times are going to be more limited if you try to self-register for them, whereas if you email me, I'll try to be more flexible with my times. So if you need to meet with me, either option. As far as required materials for the course, as I mentioned, you're going to need a computer that's capable of installing Windows and Sage on it. And if you don't have that, we've got the loaner laptops or the virtual desktop, or we do have campus computers as well. And then the other thing that you're going to need is going to be the textbook. Now for the textbook, the ISBN I provided here is for a custom edition book that's available at the GRCC bookstore, and I'm going to show you what that looks like a moment. So here's the cover for that custom edition book that's available at the GRCC bookstore. There's actually a typo on it. It says Computerized Accounting 1 here, but our class is Computerized Accounting 2. The course number's right, BA260, but this is what the book looked like at the bookstore. The book, you can also find it in the aftermarket. It's out of print, but there are some copies circulating on places like eBay or Amazon. So this is what the edition looked like prior to that custom edition. This one works as well. The page numbers and the details are exactly the same. There's just more content in this one. So I will provide the ISBN number for both versions. You don't need both, you just need one or the other. But I think the custom edition at the GRCC bookstore might be a little cheaper than you can find this one, because this one's been out of print for so long that it's pretty expensive in the aftermarket, but either version will work. If I scroll down the page of our syllabus a little bit further here, I want to take a look at the point distribution section. So here we're taking a look at all the different homework assignments that you'll be turning in for a course grade. And you can see that we are going to be covering content from 15 chapters. From each of those chapters, I'll want one or more PDF reports that will reflect on the work that you did within each of the chapters. So 75% of the course grade comes from those chapter exercise assignments. I grade those critically, and you'll notice that I'm fairly harsh with my grading. However, if you make any mistakes when you're submitting those assignments, I'll give you detailed feedback and I'll give you the opportunity to make corrections. So once you get your grade back each week for those PDF reports, look at that feedback, and if you didn't earn all the points, you're welcome to get in there and in the software and make some edits and make a resubmission. And then we also are going to have 2 projects that we'll do throughout the semester. These are going to be covering the concepts that were covered prior to the project assignment date, and basically they're the formal assessments that I do for the class. So there'll be more detail about these projects coming up, but you can see that project 1 is worth 100 points, whereas project 2 is worth 150 points. So a pretty significant amount of points coming from these 2 projects. I'm not going to read through the entire syllabus, but if you have any questions, I do have a discussion boards area on Canvas, so please post them. And one thing I do want to mention, though, is about the course attendance policy. So if you don't submit anything for the first 14 days of the course, I'm required by policy to report that to our student records office. So that means that if you haven't submitted anything by October 27th, which is the end of week 2, that I am going to contact student records and they're going to drop you from the class. So make sure that you don't do that. This is an accelerated class, and if you get 2 weeks behind, especially at the beginning of it, you're going to have a really hard time passing the class. But just so that you're aware, that policy is an important one, and I will report non-attendance to our student records office. And the way that you can show evidence of attendance is by turning in any assignment. So make sure that you turn something in by at least October 27th, or you will be automatically dropped from the class. If I can help you with anything related to this class, I want you to feel comfortable reaching out. It's my job to help you, and I expect questions when you get stuck. So please let me know how you're doing. I want to check in with you this week and see if you're able to get Sage installed on your machine, or if you're able to find a loaner laptop, or if you're having any issues accessing the software in that virtual environment. I want to know about it. So please keep me in the loop as to how you're doing, and I will do my best to support you throughout the semester. Looking forward to working with you.